Stevens, editor of Movement.net, and I'm here at Move 2026 speaking to some of the inspiring voices shaping the future of auto tech. And I'm joined today by Hemdat Sagi, Managing Director at Connect Innovation Hub, which is part of the VW Group. So thank you so much for joining us today. First things first, how are you?
Wow, amazing. I love being here. Last time I was here, I think about 3 years ago. So I'm very happy to come back and to see how the conference grew and topics are so well introduced here. So I'm enjoying myself very much.
Well, that's what we like to hear. I'm really, really glad. And we love to see a returning face to the conference. Always a pleasure. I want to ask, when you think of cross kind of collaborative industry events, what do you see as the importance of these kind of spaces? Obviously here at Move, we're really passionate about the power of face-to-face, but how do you see that for your mission?
So 100% I work in the innovation ecosystem, and nothing replaces face-to-face personal interactions. There's never going to be an AI that will replace the trust and kind of relationship building that people in this industry have to have before engaging in some sort of collaboration. So these events are just super powerful to bring about those collaboration and face-to-face exchange. So the physical interactions are amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Move is all about getting everyone under one roof to have those kind of really important conversations that drive the industry forward. So thinking now about kind of new technology, obviously automotive is an industry that is rapidly changing all the time. Can you identify any kind of key technologies that you think everyone should be speaking about at the moment?
Right. So a lot of these topics were discussed here in the morning already. So I've mentioned AI. AI is everywhere, especially now with the automotive. It starts with even the design of the car, but not just there. Our whole entire mobility ecosystem is looking at AI and how to improve our ecosystem. So I think topics like sustainability as well are super crucial. Decarbonization and sustainability, topics of electrification, of course, software-defined vehicles, something that I'm particularly passionate about. And some of the speakers here are just incredible, kind of shaping the future of our industry.
Absolutely. So you mentioned software-defined vehicles. Yeah. Obviously, that's something that you're working on at Connect. Are there any projects at the moment that you're working on that you're particularly excited by that you could shed some light on?
Yeah, so our mission in our innovation hub is basically to identify the use cases and the needs of the Volkswagen Group brands. And on a daily basis, we engage with the experts and the developers in the team and in order to find the right solution within the startup ecosystem. And so, as I mentioned, topics like AI-defined vehicles, driver's experience, mobility as a service, all these topics are occupying our brands. And once we find the right match in the ecosystem, we bring in the two sides together, and then we quickly validate the technology. And essentially, our role is to ensure the innovation leadership of the Volkswagen Group brands. And all of that cannot be done only internally, but you have to look outside for external partnerships. And a lot of the startups are now working with our brands on commercialized projects already, and that's very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know here at Move, the startup community is really essential to what we do. I'm sure you've checked out the Startup Village. I wonder if you have any advice to founders who are maybe starting in the world of automotive, sustainability, tech. Do you have any kernels of wisdom? What makes a startup really stand out to you?
Yeah. So for a startup to work with such a giant as the Volkswagen Group, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. One really needs to have a lot of patience. But I always tell the startups, even if it's very challenging to work with this giant elephant, as I call it, and it takes a long time, long processes, even bureaucracy that might, deter the startup. If you have the patience and the funds, of course, you will get a long time partner. So, for many, many years, so it's really worth the time and the investment to work with our industry and our group because you learn a lot. You'll become an expert, and being a supplier of such a giant is a big deal. So once you're a supplier and part of our suppliers pool, really the sky is the limit. So I would say number one is to be patient and to really be also flexible if you would need to adapt your technology to the needs of the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can imagine it must be quite overwhelming and intimidating sometimes to work with such a titan, but the mentorship as well must be really, really, truly pivotal for a startup. I want to talk now about sustainability. We've obviously, I know it's very essential to Connect and what you do. How is Connect incorporating sustainability throughout the kind of ecosystem of all your projects? Obviously, the electrification piece, but how are you kind of integrating sustainable practice more generally into operations?
Yeah, so of course we're fully aligned with the goals of the Volkswagen Group to be totally decarbonized and to be sustainable and so on. So we're looking for startups that have solution and those topics, whether they offer solutions for the interior of the vehicle, new materials that will replace existing ones, recycled materials, making the car a bit cooler than it is, just the whole journey to become less pollutive. So anything that a startup has in those topics, we kind of push them into projects that will later on be deployed and hopefully impact the entire group. And of course, it's very essential for our industry, generally speaking, to be more sustainable. So we're adding our part in that.
Brilliant. Yes, leading the charge. I really like to hear it. I want to speak now about another topic that's really close to my heart, and that's female representation in automotive. I understand you're a board member of the Association Women in Mobility. What does working towards a kind of inclusive and equal industry look like to you? How have you seen the industry change, and how can the industry be ambitious to become more diverse?
Yeah, so for my personal experience being a managing director in the Volkswagen Group ecosystem I feel like I'm making a great impact and kind of setting an example. And actually, the former managing directors in our company were females as well. So I think what we bring to the table is, of course, diversity, but we bring values of collaboration and transparency, which is super important. So I think any company that would, and especially in automotive, would have more female in leadership roles will enjoy those values and become a more successful company. I'm also supporting a very interesting initiative, which is to train women to lead startups, deep tech startups, to create new deep tech startups and be in the role of a CEO. So I think also training kind of the next generation of leaders is also important, and I'm very happy to contribute to that goal.
Yes, it's about incorporating people at that kind of decision-making process is vital, absolutely. As we move into our last kind of moments now, what is on the horizon for Connect, maybe in the next 12 to 24 months? What are your key priorities going forward?
So a key priority for us is not just to have multiple projects with startups, but to see the technology actually deployed in a vehicle a few years from now. So as the automotive industry works on very long cycles of development, we are working to shorten that, of course, and to actually speed the process of adopting startup technologies so that they kind of be accessible to the customer already in the next 2 or 3 years. So I think that's the biggest kind of challenge for us, but that's where I see our innovation hub going, is to bring in more technologies in a faster way and directly to the customer in a matter of 2 to 3 years rather than 5 to 7 or even 10 years.
Brilliant, absolutely. Well, really exciting stuff. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I really hope you enjoy the rest of the event, and thanks again.